Welcome to this edition of News9 Live, and today in our special edition of Manipur, we are going to take you through the events which have shed new light on the state of affairs. Why the houses of BJP leaders in Manipur are being vandalized. Why repeated attacks are taking place in Valley. Is it the issue of credibility which is at stake? That the government has lost its credibility and the people at large do not trust? Or the state is not seen fighting back? It's not seen doing enough to provide a sense of ordinariness to normal civilians who have nothing to do with this violence. They can be Meiteis, they can be Nagas, they can be Kukis, but it has nothing to do with them. And there are a lot of people who have argued that what a noted sociologist Paul Brass would say, that India, you don't have spontaneous violence. You have organized violence. There is nothing spontaneous to it. There are no spontaneous riots in India, they are all organized. So what sort of violence are we witnessing in Manipur that the state is not able to take care of it? And most important of all, women have come to the forefront. Women have come to the forefront. If you recall, in our previous programs, I had spoken about women. When my colleague Verghese was here, women taking the forefront. Sometimes supporting violent actions by preventing army their movement. And this time, you can see again a convoy has been stopped. Now, ethnic divide is so deep, and though it looks laughable, that a reporter of a leading newspaper published from South did a press conference against his own newspaper for altering his report, because he belonged to a particular community. And I am not saying this as a matter of fun, because it's there on the YouTube, but as a matter of fact that he held a press conference.
And this shows the kind of feeling he must have felt, the kind of outrage he must have felt.
And so much so is the ethnic divide that the names of the cities and towns in both hill and valleys are being erased and changed, while houses are being indiscriminately torched. In Manipur, the divide runs deep. And this could perhaps been stopped had not an important file not been lying dormant with the Ministry of Home Affairs since 2010. A lot of people have argued on this. On April 27, 2007, the then UPA government had set up Punshi Commission, which set up 8 task forces to examine the center-state relations in depth. The commission submitted its report on March 31, 2010, but the UPA government could not introduce constitutional changes recommended by Punshi Commission. Obviously, it didn't have the number. And couldn't discuss it in detail with the partners because the government had become rocky after 2011. The latest news from Manipur is that the police fired tear gas as mobs set fire to homes in fresh areas. On Sunday, which is midnight around 12, suspected militants fired and attacked Kanto Sabal area, which is heavily guarded by central forces, and burnt 5 abandoned houses. An army person has reportedly been injured in the incident. He is stable. Some areas saw residents come out. Some areas boycotted Man Ki Baat. They broke the transistor sets in marketplaces against the government. These are all recorded in visuals. And these are the latest visuals. On the other hand, several BJP MLAs are in Delhi. Prime Minister is set to leave for the United States of America in another 48 hours. And they are desirous of meeting the Prime Minister, apprise them about what's going on, what's the situation in the state. Ethnic violence has claimed more than 100 lives and so far displacing 60,000 people. On this in my studio is my political editor, Brijesh Pandey. I'm also being joined by Professor Amarjeet Singh, Professor Center for Northeast Studies and Policy Research, Jamia Millia Islamia. HS Benjamin Math, former State Vice President, BJP, and Major General Ashwani Srivastava. But first to you, your comments on the visuals where women had come out. Please play the visuals again. This is a unique aspect of the divide which comes into fore. Not the first time women are at the forefront.
See, Northeast is full of such examples, various examples where women have not only come to the forefront, but they have also ensured a complete change in the narrative as far as, the situation goes, be it RN Sharmila or be it, those women who bared themselves before the Indian Army and it caused a massive furor. If you remember, Kartike, here in this studio only, we had discussed about the kind of protest which was being done at the Mothers Market. And one of the challenging, perhaps more taunting in nature, was the cry that if you can't handle the situation, give us weapons, we will be the one who will handle the situation for you. And I think, stand before the army gypsy, it makes the task of Indian Army much more difficult. If there are male members, then the police can try or the army can try to negotiate, use force or something like that. But see the way these women are genuflecting or trying to touch the feet of the Indian Army, saying that you are my son or don't do this. And immediately the army personnel, with folded hand gets back, and then there is a guy who is giving the instruction to the gypsy saying that take it back.
Can we just raise the volume? Let us listen to it.
Going, mother, going, mother, going. Going, mother, going, mother, going.
The trouble for BJP has not ended. Its alliance partner NPP has come out. They're pretty upset. They are saying that the security forces should come under the central rule. Pretty upset about it. And let me introduce the guest, Professor Amarjeet Singh, HS Benjamin Maitei, Major General Ashwani Srivastava. A very warm welcome to all of you. This is our program on Manipur is around roughly 46-day-old continuously, and we are the only platform to run it every day, 2 hours, apart from other publication, as a matter of commitment that Northeast will be covered in its entirety. There was a meeting, Brijesh, which took place. There was a call which took place between the Chief Minister of Manipur and Mizoram. That was to ensure the displaced people, what happens to them. So first to you, Professor Amarjeet Singh.
Yes.
What explains attack on BJP leaders in Imphal?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much for a very important and a very pertinent question. As we know that the northeastern states like Manipur are heavily dependent on the central government in terms of funds and other, in terms of, dealing with the unrest or the militancy. So now what we are seeing today is, there is I will call it as a kind of frustration and, the expectation, that dilemma that the people are facing, because they are frustrated, because they are frustrated for the reason that, the violence has been going on for a number of days, and now it is more than a month or so. And at the same time, their expectation is also very high, because when it comes to ethnic issues, the role of the state government in the northeastern states, especially like Manipur, is very, very limited, because in even the so-called, the ethnic organizations or the insurgents groups, they prefer to talk to the central government rather than the state government. So as a result of that, sometimes the state government, became a reluctant partner also in this kind of situation. But the expectation from the people is very high, because the people believe that it is the center which can solve the problem. It is the center which can intervene to diffuse the situation. So as a result of that, what I see today is this the expectations and the frustration dilemma that is being faced by the people. This is what I see at the moment.
Okay. I would like to get in HS Benjamin Mate here. Professor Swan, who has been with us many a times, he has written an edit. Basically he has quoted Paul Brass, and my question to you is, it's saying that Manipur's violence follows an established pattern of institutionalized riot system. This is something which Paul Brass spoke about. Do you feel that something like that is happening in Manipur?
Yeah, partly I agree with the professor's statement, a view on the kind of organized riot in Manipur happening. Because mostly in the valley, there have been continuous confrontation with the central security forces in the past as well, regarding armed forces special brigade or whatever issue that arises in the Manipur valley. And because of that, most of the writers or that the civil society organization and all these people who organize this kind of protests on the roads and in the locality, they have been very expert in, so to say that they have been kind of a professional kind of a protester. So, like especially in Valley, we feel that the security force has not acted as they have acted in the hills. If you go just after a few days of this violence, just after the violence breakout, after a few days, you can recall that in Chachanpur, when the women folks of coaches of people tried to stop a security convoy who is passing through the town, they have been shot by the security force, and 9 of our women were injured, and around 3 or 4 women were killed. So the same yardstick should have been applied in the valley, so that people understand that the security force are not here to not here to watch the violence, but they are here to do something which is amicable to restore peace and normalcy in the state. So this needs to this kind of a message is lacking in the valley. That is what I assume at the moment.
That's what you assume at the moment. And I'm also joined by General Sivat. Sir, when we talk about violence which becomes so deeply institutionalized in forms of lot of people participating in it, not like acts of terrorism which we witness in J&K, but whereby civil society becomes armed. How different that sort of a problem becomes for the army?
Absolutely. See, the problem in Manipur is manifold. But initially what has happened is that the police tried to control the situation, but police got divided as per the ethnic affinity. And that is where the crunch point is there. The basic violence started because police was partisan. And second thing is the looting of weapons which has taken place. 4,000 weapons were looted from the police armory. And these weapons then went into the hand of the miscreant. And they are now utilizing that. And also we must understand that there is a linkage to people coming from Myanmar, those Chin community which is settled down in Kuki-dominated area. There are drugs coming, there are weapons already coming, from Myanmar as well as China. So all the situation became very volatile, and I suppose the police are not able to handle. And when the central government or central forces came in terms of Assam Rifle and in terms of army, it was slightly late. We, as a state, as a country, we our response was thinking that everything will be under control after 4 5 days. But the thing kept on deteriorating, and every passing day, things are becoming from bad to worse. And therefore, we need to act sternly now. Very rightly brought out once the central government forces and army have come in, we must mean business because they don't have, they are totally impartial. They will go as per the law and they will take action against the people who are trying to create violence. My point is threefold. One is they must act and mean business. The violence must come down at the earliest. Until unless violence does not come, the confidence of the people will not be there in the central forces. The second thing is these weapons which have gone into the hands of the miscreants, these must be returned back by trying to tell to the society leader, also making an effort, also trying to carry out a combing operation. Third thing is that in case if the violence is not able to be controlled and we are finding things going bad, the government must also explore the possibility of putting a president rule. You cannot allow Manipur, which is our very important border state, go from bad to worse because it has a linkage in Myanmar. Our Act East policy is through that. Our trilateral national, international highway is going from Myanmar, from Manipur to Myanmar, then to Thailand and then Cambodia. So therefore, the point which is coming is that we must now act with force and bring a semblance of peace. In case there are people who are coming and agitating, we must very cleverly, tactfully utilize this sort of force to make sure that they understand that the security forces have come. They mean business. They are not with A party or B party. They are going to go against those miscreants which are now trying to bring a disorder in the society. Now, 2 3 things more are very important. Remember, as far as Manipur Valley is concerned, there are main laterals which are going. If the main laterals are blocked, then it is very difficult to bypass. And this is a new weapon which has been utilized in terms of women. And very rightly, my co-panelists have told that it is not only in Manipur. I have experience of Mizoram, I have experience of Meghalaya, I have experience of Nagaland. I see the woman is in forefront in all these states, and hence the women have come, and that made us, situation more difficult in terms of handling it by the security forces. Remember the main line, which is a lifeline, a road which is coming from Kohima to Imphal, that has been blocked. We are not able to remove that blockade, and so many items are now stranded there. So overall, I will say now a multi-pronged strategy. We must mean business. First, bring down the violence, and anyone who is taking law in his hand must be sternly handled. Second thing is, in case we realize that the present government or state government, very rightly brought out by co-panelists, possibly realizing it that if the whole society is now divided as per the ethnic line, then we must explore the possibility of having even a president rule. We should not delay.
Okay. I am also joined by Professor Thangulal Hauke. Welcome, Professor. In last 24 hours, a lot of violence had taken place against BJP leaders. Your opening comment, why has that happened?
There are rioters, as we have indicated in the last weekend, that there are rioters who are organized, and we really need to control. The army man, the army officer who has just said that there has to be combing operation. Of course, I agree to that combing operation, but why should combing operation be just done in the hills where there is AFSPA? We have been, demanding very unpopular demand of reintroducing AFSPA for a month or two until the riot is controlled in the valley also, so that, armed forces are given power enough to control the situation. So rioters has to be controlled, the BJP MLAs, whoever, the ministers, they are being attacked because they know that the rioters knew that there is no APSPA and they have this kind of impunity. So that this new kind of impunity that the mob has, the administration has to show to them that you cannot be tolerated, right? This has to be shown to the public that of course on the 4th May the governor of Manipur has ordered stood at site in Manipur. But however, did we implement it? The people are, knowing from the experiences of this rioting that, the armed forces have no power or did not dare to interfere in the kind of activities they are involved. So this happens. So the police, the armed forces have to show that they are in control. So unless that has been established, then the public will say that they are, they are immune from any kind of, violence that can be perpetrated by the law enforcing agencies. So you have to give power enough to the police, to the armed forces, so that the rioters can be controlled on both sides. That's my view that has been expressed last week already, and then I would once again reiterate that enough of power has to be given to the police and the armed forces to control the situation.
Before I take my conversation, on certain aspects, you people are far more aware. One is the Punshi Commission, and can Punshi Commission be seen as a way, a key to unlock different issues? But before that, I would like the viewers to listen into two important bites. One from the police officer from Imphal and another from Jairam Ramesh, because a lot of lawmakers want to meet Prime Minister Modi before he leaves for the United States of America. So first we listen to the police officer, we take a ground feel, and then we listen to that bite of Jairam Ramesh in this context.
Security deployment for Imphal district is done in two levels, one for the city town area and one for the foothill areas. So for the foothill areas, all the CFF deployment starting from Dolai Thabi to Hotel Mandi are all in place, which are the security, these CFF companies are looking after. And for Imphal area also, CFF along with Manipur police under the supervision of DIG and IG is taking care of the vulnerable pockets, and we're doing our best to protect the citizens of the state. I would say that there was a kind of a fight between two groups. Okay. We reached in time, and then we are also taking care of all the officers, important personalities, and then public also. We're taking care of them. I mean, at this situation, everyone is equal in our eyes, and we're equally taking precaution of everyone. Okay. Is also, I think, maybe one of the reasons, and other reasons are also there, that I think public are also, public do not want violence, and also police is also taking up enough preventive action. So I think these are a few reasons why today is very peaceful and calm.
10 जून से मणिपुर के 10 विपक्ष पार्टी, 10 लाइक माइंडेड पार्टी इंतजार कर रहे हैं कि वो प्रधानमंत्री से मिलने का उनको अवसर मिले। आज हमारे साथ मेघचंद्र सिंह जी, जो मणिपुर कांग्रेस पार्टी के अध्यक्ष हैं, यहां हैं। KSH बीरेन सिंह जी, जो जनता दल यूनाइटेड के अध्यक्ष हैं, वो यहां मौजूद हैं। एल थोइरेन सिंह, जो CPI स्टेट काउंसिल के सेक्रेटरी हैं, यहां हैं। चौथे नंबर गिनाऊंगा क्षेत्र नायम शांता, जो CPM स्टेट काउंसिल के सदस्य हैं। थोकचोम इनोचा सिंह, जो तृणमूल कांग्रेस के कन्वीनर हैं मणिपुर के। वो यहाँ मौजूद हैं। थिंगजाम विश्वनाथ सिंह, आम आदमी पार्टी के कोऑर्डिनेटर, यहाँ मौजूद हैं। KH ज्ञानेश्वर सिंह, ऑल इंडिया फॉरवर्ड ब्लॉक मणिपुर, यहाँ मौजूद हैं। सोराम इबोयामा सिंह, प्रेसिडेंट NCP मणिपुर, यहाँ मौजूद हैं। T देबानंद सिंह, प्रेसिडेंट शिवसेना उद्धव ठाकरे मणिपुर, यहाँ मौजूद है। और K मनोरंजन सिंह, RSP मणिपुर, यहां मौजूद हैं। तो 10 पार्टियां, कांग्रेस, जनता दल यूनाइटेड, CPI, CPM, तृणमूल कांग्रेस, आम आदमी पार्टी, ऑल इंडिया फॉरवर्ड ब्लॉक, NCP, शिवसेना UBT और रेवोल्यूशनरी सोशलिस्ट पार्टी RSP, ये 10 पार्टियां ने 10 तारीख को प्रधानमंत्री को लिखित में एक खत भेजा था कि हम आपसे मिलना चाहते हैं। आज भी वो इंतजार कर रहे हैं और हमारी आशा है और ये लोग सब उम्मीद कर रहे हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री 20 तारीख को अपनी विदेश यात्रा में जाएंगे, पर उसके पहले उनको कुछ समय मिलेगा इन 10 पार्टियों से मिलने का। ये यहां 2-4 दिन से रुके हुए हैं और 20 तारीख तक यहीं रहेंगे। मैंने पहले आपको कहा था कि 18 जून 2001, यानी कि ठीक 22 साल पहले, आज 17 जून है, कल 18 जून रहेगा, ठीक 22 साल पहले मणिपुर जल रहा था। अखबारों के हेडलाइन अगर आप देखेंगे 19 तारीख के, आपको खबर मिलेगी इम्फाल जल रहा था, विधानसभा जलाया गया, स्पीकर का बंगला जलाया गया, चीफ मिनिस्टर सेक्रेटेरिएट जलाया गया और करीब 3-3.5 महीने के लिए ब्लॉकेड रहा। 18 जून 2001 पहली बार मणिपुर जला। तब के प्रधानमंत्री श्री अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी थे। सभी पार्टियों ने मांग की प्रधानमंत्री जी से कि हम आपसे मिलना चाहते हैं। 24 जून 2001, मैं पढ़कर सुनाऊंगा, ये PIB का रिलीज है। अब तक PIB ने इसको निकाला नहीं है अपने वेबसाइट से, आप भी जा सकते हैं। ये PIB में है, 24 जून 2001। हेडलाइन है, ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन फ्रॉम मणिपुर मीट्स प्राइम मिनिस्टर। 18 जून को मणिपुर जल रहा है। 6 दिन बाद सर्वदलीय प्रतिनिधि मंडल प्रधानमंत्री से मिलता है। 6 दिन बाद। और यह प्रधानमंत्री कार्यालय से क्या रिलीज आता है, मैं आपको पढ़ूंगा। An all-party delegation from Manipur called on the Prime Minister Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee here today, यानी कि 24 जून 2001. The delegation leaders submitted to him a memorandum. They gave a detailed account of the latest situation in Manipur. The Prime Minister gave them a patient hearing. दोहराऊंगा. The Prime Minister gave them a patient hearing. the Prime Minister referred to the unanimous decision taken at their meeting with the Home Minister, Shri LK Advani, yesterday, यानी कि 23 जून 2001, that various aspects arising out of the ceasefire will be reviewed. ये ceasefire नागाओं से के साथ था और ये जो हिंसा के घटना हुए थे ये नागा ceasefire समझौता से लेकर हुआ था. He reiterated the union government's assurance that the territorial integrity of Manipur will be preserved. Another meeting with the leaders from Manipur would be held on the 8th of July 2001, by when the Home Minister would have returned from his tour. Advani ji बाहर जा रहे थे, देश के बाहर. 8 जुलाई को उन्होंने फिर से इस delegation से मुलाकात की. The Prime Minister has appealed to the people of Manipur. Prime Minister has appealed to the people of Manipur to maintain calm and help the administration in restoring normalcy in the state.
You know, this brings me to the question whether the meeting will take place or not. Do you think that they'll get to meet the Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
See, I'm not very optimistic because, you know, if they get to meet the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, you know, politically speaking, they are going to drag the name of the Prime Minister also in this ongoing saga. And till now, as per sources, they have not been given any time for this meeting with the Prime Minister. So there's just an attempt on their part to meet the Prime Minister and other central leaders. But as we speak, there has been no time given to either Biren Singh or anybody else.
What is the
for the
reticence?
meeting. See, I don't think that the Prime Minister would want to be dragged into this entire situation. You know, politically, one had hoped that, you know, when Home Minister Amit Shah went to the state of Manipur for 3 to 4 days and has travelled length and breadth, went to Churachandpur, which is considered to be the epicenter of the entire violence, and has also visited other, you know, camps and all belonging to both tribes and all, and his impassioned plea, many felt that the situation would be brought under control. The violence would be brought under control because apart from, you know, announcing all kind of measures, the Home Minister also made it very clear that he will not allow any kind of violence to go on. But unfortunately, that has not been able to stem down or you know, to quell the riots or quell the kind of you know, the arsons which we are witnessing in the state. I think one of the biggest challenge for the government, or I would say the albatross, the Chief Minister of Manipur has become. And until unless the government decides to do something with this albatross, I think the road to peace is going to be a bit difficult now. Because, you know, now the Meiteis are not showing any faith in the Chief Minister, the Cookies are not showing any kind of faith in the Chief Minister. So how long will Biren Singh be there is something, you know.
The first time, and I think all the shows I have held, that, you know, time is running out for Biren Singh.
Absolutely, time is running out, not only for Biren Singh, time is also running out for the centre. Because, you know, the situation which is unfolding, its impact is not only limited to Manipur. You know, it will spill over to other states also, and the worst part is that it will damage one of the BJP's key initiative ever since the government, NDA government came to power, is that their look northeast policy. This crisis which is going on in Manipur is something which has a potential to torpedo, to completely undo the kind of work the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has done in his Act Northeast policy, and that has, you know, I mean, for the 7, 8 years, 9 years, it has come for a lot of praise and all, and, you know, there have been a lot of, for the first time, you know, many people in the northeastern states have said that how this policy has made them felt like they belong to the mainland India. That feeling of unity is there, but I think what is happening in Manipur is something which the government should seriously, you know, take some concrete action to ensure that the trust of both sides again starts getting, I mean, you know, building towards the state administration. And until unless that happens, I don't see this getting solved on its own.
Amarjit ji, you know, a lot of people have written about Punchi Commission. They have written about certain parts of the state put directly under the president rule. Rest can function under Chief Minister. You know, an article also came that Rajagopalachari did this when there were communist rebellion in Telangana. 600 guerrillas were arrested. They were killed in action, and 8,000 people associated with this the so-called uprising, they were detained. So is Punshi Commission the answer? Certain areas under President rule and certain areas the Chief Minister can administer?
I think I would like to differ from that. As I see the situation in Manipur, now the situation is still very tense, but at the same time, if you look at the number of or the incidents of violence from the incidents of violence from May 3rd now to today or yesterday, what I have seen is that now this violence has, we have seen this violence up and down. And at the same time, what we have seen is that now the violence is largely confined to the foothills. And as I said, earlier also, the various security measures that has been taken up, I think now these security measures are slowly, able to control the situation. I am not saying that all these measures are very, sufficient to control this, violence, in a day or in a two. Of course, this will take some time, but I feel that, the situation with these, various security measures that has been adopted by the state government and the central government, I feel that, this violence will be able to contain in the next, a week or so. This is what I feel. But I am at this point of time, since various measures has been taken up by the central government, now I feel that, the question of the president rule, doesn't arise at this point of time, because since May, the first week or second week, since the beginning of these incidents, the central government has been monitoring the Union Minister of State for Home has been in Imphal for many days. Even the Union Home Minister was there for 3-4 days. So I think we need to wait and watch for some time. But I am very, very confident that with the existing, measures that is being taken up by the government, I think these measures will be, useful in containing the violence. This is what I see it.
Ajit ji, you are saying that the Punshi Commission is not the answer and the President rule is not required. But don't you think that Biren Singh ji has run out of goodwill? Chief Minister enjoys goodwill. 45 days, he has run out of that goodwill.
Yeah, that is true. But at the same time, as I have said in one of our your program here also, if the president rule has to be imposed, it should have been imposed in the beginning. Now, 1 month had already passed and various security measures has been taken up. So as a result of that, what I feel is that now let us see the result of these security measures. That is what I feel. And at the same time, regarding the chief minister, this chief minister, you see, what we have seen is that his government has done lots of work. What we have seen in 2017, in Manipur, the situation at that time, and in the last 5 years of his leadership in the state, we have seen, very calm and normal situations. And he has also tried, his administration has tried to, do many things to control, such as poppy plantation and to preserve forests and all that. So he has also done many good things for the state. So therefore, and with the center's assistance, because in the states like Manipur, the security is heavily controlled by the central government. So therefore, what I feel at this point of time, changing chief minister or the putting in the president rule is not the solution at this point of time.
Before I go to Haukip ji and Benjamin Martin, then to General Siwaj. A lot of people say that this is the problem. You really don't know who is in charge, Amarjeet Singh, that who is in charge in Manipur. A lot of people are saying security advisor reports to the Chief Minister and central forces are under him. So who is in charge? Where is the buck stopping? A lot of people have written editorials on this. कि असली प्रॉब्लम यही हो गई है.
So, are you asking to me, sir?
Yes, I'm asking this to you, Amarjeet ji.
Sir, what we have seen now, as I have said in the beginning, now the situation in Manipur is still not yet normal, but in the last 1 week or so, we have also seen the, now say for example, in the Delhi area, there is no violence at this point of time. Of course, there are some incidents of, vandalism and, some people, carrying on, protests, peace rallies and all that. So that is not a sign of, the violence. So as I see is that now the violence has decreased very substantially. And now what we have seen is that now the violence, as you see, is that has shifted to the the periphery areas between the valley and the hills. So that is the reason why I have been saying that now the focus, the security measures should be focused largely along these the foothills.
Professor Haukip, do you agree that the president's rule is not required as of now?
We have been demanding president's rule right from the beginning of the violence. But since both at the center and the state, there is a BJP regime, and we know very well that the center is not willing to give up on this. And we have been suggesting that if you are, unable to impose president's rule in Manipur, then why don't you change the chief minister or someone who is in charge of the government? Then the central government has been reluctant even to that, and now both the communities did not trust the chief minister for a kind of governance in this emergency situation. So what we largely find is that we don't know who is governing the state, whether it's the center, whether it's the someone in Imphal, or whether it's the chief minister. So we are not really aware of who is responsible for governance in Manipur. That is the problem. So for a kind of semblance of governance to be there, we have to know who is in charge of it. And right away after a week, we have been saying that the chief minister has to go. But rather, because of the ethnicity of the DGP, he has been replaced and sent to a certain other center posting. But we can see the chief minister, being there in his position for quite so long till now, when all the trust has been gone from the people who voted him or the people who have voted.
The reason why I am asking this question is, when you remove the DGP, the message is there was a law and order issue. But as a journalist, I don't think Manipur is a law and order issue only. I think it's Mr. Haukip, it's a bigger issue.
Of course, it's a bigger issue. If you remove the DJP because of his ethnic or certain affiliations, or particularly how you look into it, how you paint to him, then you also remove the chief minister who has been, it's because of his under his leadership that this situation has happened. So if the BJP government in Delhi doesn't want to, change or impose president's role, then at least change the leadership in the state, where people could have some semblance of trust in that leadership. But that doesn't happen after almost 2 months. So what is what is left with us? That's left with distrust. We are left with hatred. We are left with violence. All this is the result of the indecisiveness of the central government. What do we have? This is the end result of being indecisive, keeping someone in power until all houses are razed to the ground. That's what we have in Manipur.
Okay. Mr. Benjamin Mate, do you agree that president rule is required?
President rule at this moment, as my panelist has already stated, is very much required. But if the center has some reservation on imposing president rule in Manipur, at least animated suspension of assembly of Manipur is in fact the need of the hour, so that right now with the ethnic classes going on uncontrolled on the ground, and then the present CM, whom most of the Kogi people accuse him of starting the violence, has been still on the chair. So the kind of security that center expect will never happen unless there is some kind of what to say, like extreme step being implemented in Manipur, taken in Manipur, I mean. And then I also want to put into perspective that this professor, a respected learned professor, has just mentioned in his speech, in his statement, that most of the valley are peaceful. Right now, I don't see. I want to defer to his statement, because most of the violence are right now happening in the valley, and if you can what to say, get a report from the ground, either in Kangpopi, Suchanpur, or More, most of the hill districts are now peaceful. And right now, most of the Kuki people, when the Honorable Home Minister Amit Shah visited Manipur, he requested both the community to maintain peace for at least 15 days. And Kuki has been maintaining that request by Honorable Home Minister. And so far, there is no attack from the Kuki side. It was from the valley side which keep on attacking the Kuki. And that is very unfortunate. And for that, to curb that kind of aggression by the valley people, we need at least animated suspension of assembly for some time, and so that the central government can completely take over the overall situation in Manipur. And I hope if that happens within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, things will become normal in the valley as well as in the east. And plus, it has been a long-standing demand for not only Kuki but most of the tribal community in Manipur, that tribal has not been given enough autonomy to govern themselves in Manipur. Like, to cite a few examples, like in Assam, Bodoland Territorial Council was given for the Bodos. There is other 6 scheduled areas for different tribes. Even in Mizoram, though it is a completely tribal state, Mara Autonomous District Council was given for the Mara tribe because they have been considered as one of the least developed tribe among the tribals. So in Manipur, if you see in Manipur, it has been a long pending demand for the tribals that at least certain kind of political autonomy for tribal has not been done by the center. And because of that, Nagas have their own political movement, and Kuki also we have our own political movement. And plus, inside the valley, the valley people are demanding complete cessation from India. And right now, most of the violence happening right now at the moment are suspected to be fueled by people. Those Meitei elements, band organization, that terrorist organization, are hiding inside Burma to destabilize the law and order situation of the nation. It is not only for Manipur. It is going to be a big, kind of a big kind of incident for the entire India. And then we are also suspecting that this violence is happening, especially in the valley, that women for coming out in the street, blocking the army convoy to control the situation or destabilizing the entire system, the governance, was meticulously planned from across the border. So we also suspected that there would be involvement of foreign intelligence agency in fueling the violence, especially in the valley. That I want to make that big statement.
Okay.
That is what I learned from the
my colleague Brajesh Pandey has a question for you.
Mr. Benjamin, you are saying that a foreign agency may be behind this, all what is playing out in the state of Manipur. But before the violence started, the N Biren Singh government, your government was slightly on the rocks in the sense that, you know, you had 4-5 MLAs who had come to Delhi, and they were not happy with the style of functioning of the chief minister. And after that, you know, this entire violence has played out, where your own MLAs are not very happy with the way things have panned out. Do you see this at a diminishing political clout of N Biren Singh?
Now, in fact, N Biren Singh, during his first tenure, in the first part of his tenure, actually, we saw him as one of the most competent leader of Manipur. But gradually, because of his hatred toward the Kuki people, and then he started antagonizing the Kukis on most of the cases, and plus, not only particularly the Kuki, but to the whole tribal community on various issues. Like to cite one example on this, in Manipur, as we all know that there is one Article 371C, which under that article comes Hill Area Committee. And in the last part of his tenure, the first term of N Biren Singh, he tried to include around 10 MLAs in Hill Area Committee, which is against the constitution. And because of that, there was huge outcry from the valley, and the center was quick to intervene in that, and that is how we control the situation. From there onward, the trust on leadership of Biren has already completely declined. And even in the second term, he was not selected by the elected MLAs of BJP. He was indeed imposed by the center. So because of that, there has been loss of discontentment among the BJP MLAs, and because of that, as you mentioned, around 4 or 5 MLAs has resigned from their own, from their capacity as chairmen of various departments. And from there onward, I don't know that overnight this violence has started, and now things have total chaos.
Okay. I think there are a lot of broad statements. General Sivaj, you are with me?
Yeah, I am with you.
General Sivaj, you know, I want to know how difficult this whole thing has become with the 51-member peace committee has completely collapsed. You know, and all hopes are on Indian Army. You know, you expect Indian Army to do all the job when political leadership in itself and its initiatives have failed. You know, even if I say, okay, nothing is wrong with Biren Singh, there is nothing wrong with other people, okay, we give them benefit of doubt. But the biggest initiative of peace committee has failed. And then you expect army to do all sorts of jobs, from floods to restoring peace to maintaining law and order, and the list goes on.
Yeah, very correct. You know, the present situation in Manipur is very complex. And very rightly said, I will also like to tell my viewers, you know, when the problem started with China 2 years back in Ladakh and Kalwan, the troops which were here, the few of them were moved out. So as far as Manipur is concerned, density of army was less. It is only now number of columns have been brought in. So certainly the point is the people of Manipur have lost confidence in the police, which is divided on the ethnic line. We must understand that this is a fact, and that is the problem which started off. If you were impartial to act against people who were taking violence, then the violence wouldn't have spread. But having done so, now what is the present situation? The present situation is, are we really able to control the situation? Till now, that situation is not under control. But yes, I agree with it that it can come under control once the army is given a complete free hand, and also make sure that the basically magistrates are given to army column, because they know Armed Forces Special Power Act. That is where the problem is coming. Certain columns are not getting that facility. Having said so, I want to tell you 3-4 things. There is a suspension of operation, and the weapons of all those militant groups are locked, and there are 2 keys. One key is with us, one key is with the militant group. So far, those weapons or those locks have not been tampered. There are more than 10,000 weapons lying there. And God forbid, in case if they lose confidence and faith, and those weapons are taken out, and that violence in the society will increase tremendously. So therefore, we have to act now, and we have to show to the people the violence has to come down. And very rightly, I said, yes, I will say that give the free hand to army, let them go out, make sure that you mean business. You cannot accept that leniency when the writers are coming. Very rightly brought by panelists that most people have thought that nothing will happen, and that's why the violence is increasing. So violence has to be brought down, things have to be brought under control, and this peace committee, you have to make sure, speak to the people, give them confidence. Why the people are not in the peace committee? Because they have lost confidence, I think, to the state government. And my point is, in case the situation is not coming under control, the central government is right to understand as to what is the ground situation, and they should not hesitate to bring even a governor law rule, because the point is, if Manipur boils, the whole northeast will have an indirect adverse impact. Imagine the Mizoram is totally connected with the hill tribes and all. That will make an impact. Then Manipur connected with basically Myanmar. What is happening there are just after the military junta has taken over, there is a total chaos and confusion in the western parts of Myanmar. The Chin community has come and settled down in certain part of Manipur. They are also involved in poppy and cultivation. There is also people settled down in reserve forest. All these are problems, but at the same time, there are a lot of weapons which are coming from Myanmar, and the China and ISI is also totally activated. So there are external angle involved to this. There is an internal angle involved to it, and we cannot allow situation in this sort to go from bad to worse, because Manipur is a jewel of the whole Northeast. Manipur is, in case have a turmoil or it is unstable, it will have direct impact to Nagaland, to Mizoram and to Tripura. So therefore, it is required that we must take a stern action and bring the situation under control. And if there is a requirement of Government of India to take even a harsh step to even impose a president rule, I suppose they should not hesitate, because first and foremost is, let's bring the situation under control. Imagine today it is a matter of concern. The main lifeline, which is the road going from Kohima to Imphal, is blocked, and therefore the necessary essential items are not going to come. Where in the rest of the part of in the country you can allow such a situation? Since I headed a territorial army, I have experience of this. From Lumding to Silchar, it took us 67 years to convert the meter gauge into broad gauge. Once we brought territorial army, within 3 years, they could be able to handle. There is a railway line which is now coming from Jiribam to Imphal. Their progress is going very fast. From Imphal, then it will even go to Myanmar and then further. So therefore, today Manipur is a hub center of Northeast, and the progress in Manipur will have a direct impact on an Act East policy of central government. So in case violence continues in Manipur, it will have an adverse impact, and it will send a wrong message. And our enemies across the border, even Pakistan, China, as well as some militant groups in Myanmar, will make use of it. So therefore, we must act now. Time is come now.
I think, one important part of the aspect, the conversation was the government means business. And I think that's where the conversation should be. Before I go to Amarjeet ji, let me play out the bite of the former Chief Minister, Ibobi Singh.
Last time also I have the privilege for speaking a few words. You people well aware that since May 3rd, Manipur has already begin burning. Till today, it is still continuing. Every alternate day, or even every day also, including Honorable Union Minister of State, RK Ranjan Singh's house, also already burned day before yesterday. And hue and cry in different relief camps. More than 20,000, including women and children, are taking shelter in the relief camp. What is happening, you people can imagine easily. But till today, from Honorable Prime Minister of this country, didn't express anything what is happening there in Manipur. Now what we feel that it is not nice to mention that whether Manipur is a part of India or not. The question automatically it has arisen. If it is belongs within India, at least Honorable Prime Minister of this entire country, he should have to be expressed, even a single tweet in his mobile. So we don't know. That's why all these grievances, these 10 like-minded political party representatives, we have prepared one memorandum. We want peace. We are not coming here politicalize, not for politicalize. We are not coming here for taking political advantage. At least we want peace. Please help us. So enable Manipur to restore as early as possible. Then next step, it can be dialogue between the two communities and whomsoever. It can be start with the hope that still we hope we will definitely get at least some time within these 2-3 days before Honorable Prime Minister leave this country for foreign tour. So with this few words, as Jairam Rameshji already mentioned, this one, in 2001, what is happening there in 2001, by that time also BJP was ruled this country. What is happening there, I will not repeat. And by that time, all political party delegation met the then Honorable Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. We have got opportunity for meeting with him. Few of our honorable members are here. What he expressed from among those delegates, here is next to me, former Minister, JDU now, and Dr. Nimai Luang will say a few words about the delegation. He has got privilege of meeting the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
So Ibobi saying a person who was in power in Manipur for more than 10 years, a very successful person recounting his own experience. Amarjit ji, coming to you now, you know, there was a line which General Sivat said, and it stuck with me because a lot of editorials have also been written on it. Government means business, and the message should go out that the government means business. Do you think that is what is lacking?
Yeah, let me, before I come to that point, so I just want to add 2 points. And, you know, this, my fellow panelists have also, you know, one of the panelists have mentioned about the violence in the belly.
Benjamin Mataji.
Yes. So now, you know, I defer to, you know, to some extent, because now I must say that, you know, the violence has to, even the security advisor has also admitted that the incidence of violence has, you know, has decreased to a very substantial. So now one of the anxiety in the valley is the, you know, the cookie militants who are under the suspension of operation. So now, until and unless in order. So number one, this is very, very important. Until and unless you control the, you know, the insurgents who are currently in suspension of operation with the government of India. So this must be looked into. And another thing, you know, the violence is not just in the valley. You know, even as the Major General Sir has also, you know, mentioned about the, you know, how the, you know, several, you know, the cookie groups has been blocking the lifeline of the state, the national highways for number of days. And even the Union Home Minister has also appealed to them to lift this, you know, the blockade of the highway. And of course, and they tried to reopen the highway, but that did not materialize. And as again, coming to your question, I agree that, in my, in the beginning also I have, slightly touch upon the intervention from the central government, that is including the Prime Minister's Home Minister, that is very, very important. That is very, very important. And having said that, as I have said in the beginning, the even Home Minister was in Imphal for 3 days, and then the other, the Minister of Home, the Minister of State, he was also in Imphal for a number of days to review the situation in the current state, in the state. And based on that, now there are various measures which are taken up by the central government. Now the security is under the control of the central government, as I see it. Now so as a result of that, what I see is that now these security measures are, of course there are loopholes, and it's taking time to control the situation. But I still believe that, the step that is being taken up by the central government is, it's going to help in, at least in controlling violence, because that is my firm belief. At the same time, and I agree with many people have also written about that the Prime Minister should also intervene. But yes, that is very important. But at the same time, the central government has been doing, has been intervening right from the beginning of this violence. But having said that, I wish that the central government should do more, because at this point of time, the conflicting parties are now are bargaining to achieve something, so because this conflict is all about this involves the bargaining for some kind of benefit or some kind of political concession. So my suggestion to the central government is that now so many measures has been taken up. I will also urge the central government to set up an expert group to study the various demands of the people of Manipur.
Well, sir,
so this is my...
Brijesh Pandey, this side, you said that, the central government has been intervening, and we also saw how Article 355 was imposed. But are you happy with the kind of work that has been done and the progress which it has made, those steps have made? Because we saw 51 member, just a second, let me finish my question, sir. Because the 51 member committee, which was announced with a lot of fanfare and all, collapsed right at the start. I mean, the second it was announced, within 5 minutes, everybody, it had fiasco written all over it. So are you happy with the steps that has been taken, or what kind of concrete step would you advise the centre to take to bring down normalcy, to bring normalcy in the state of Manipur, sir?
Now, sir, I must say that many people have also have written or have talked about Manipur is a very difficult state, because the ethnic divide, it's heavily politicized. So I say, what I feel is that I'm not saying that whatever the step taken up by the government, there are challenges, there are loopholes. I'm not saying that whatever the step that is taken up by the government is 100% correct, but I'm saying that whatever the step taken up by the government will be helpful in bringing at least the current violence to a very to a very minimum level. That is my understanding. And then you mentioned about the peace committee. There was lots of expectations and there were lots of hope. And I'm still, now it is too early to throw out the peace committee. I'm still hopeful that there are room to improve or to enhance this the functioning of this committee. And in fact, this will take lots of time, but I'm still hopeful that some of these measures taken up by the central government will be useful to some extent. It may not be 100% perfect. So, but we cannot just simply, say that even the peace committee is useless. I understand that there are challenges are there.
I didn't say that peace committee is useless, sir. What I meant was that, when you announce, when somebody at the stature of the home minister, he's a union home minister, a person who, who's entrusted with the task of maintaining law and order, when our home ministry announces a 51-member committee, and, a vast majority of both ethnic side, both sides, be it Kukis or Meiteis, they immediately, pulled themselves out. I said like it became a non-starter right from the word go. So, I mean, that kind of embarrassment would have avoided, and this also reflects that, a lot of thought through, I mean, the entire process was not thought through properly.
So, I mean, I agree with you, what you have said, because as I have said, Manipur is a very difficult state. So, regarding this peace committee...
Sir, is Manipur a difficult state?
Let us wait and watch.
Sir,
let us wait and watch.
Amarjit ji, I think I differ with you. Manipur is not a difficult state. These politicians have made Manipur difficult. There is nothing wrong with Manipur.
No, what I am saying is that, sir, I mean, the ethnic politics in Manipur is very, very, it's not that very easy. It's very difficult. That is what I'm saying.
Okay, Mr. Mata, you wanted to come in?
First, I want to clarify on the statement of Major General Saab. He said that most of the Kuki militants groups are taking arms from across the border, and then they are actively participating on the present violence. Let me cite a few examples. On various occasions, including the Chief Minister and plus Security Advisor has stated repeatedly that underground groups are intake, their arms are intake in the camp. And also, I also want to put into perspective that the suspension of operation groups, that Kuki militant group, whom we term as militant, they are in fact not indeed a terrorist group. For the past many decades after the formation of Kuki underground, you won't hear any incident of firing between Kuki underground groups and Indian Army, or for that matter, the state police. They are just simply a byproduct of ethnic cleansing by the Naga against the Kuki. So these Kuki militant groups are comparing to Naga militant group, Meitei militant group. They are totally harmless. They are totally harmless for the national and state security. And coming back to that, regarding the Meitei underground groups, as you know, they have been they have various underground groups. Now they are the people who have been they are the groups who have been attacking the Indian security forces. And just recently, one corner and entire family was shot dead by this militant group in Singat Assembly under Singat Assembly constituency in Sultanpur district. And these underground groups are right now they are hiding inside Burma under the protection of military junta Burma. So all arms, ammunition, everything is controlled by this arms group. So there is a perception created in the national media that Kuki's arms group are the person who are close to border, and there are people who are dealing in arms and who are supplying ammunition to other groups and all. But this is totally wrong. And second thing, coming to that drug trade, Kukis are now, the entire Kuki communities are branded as poppy planters, drug traders by the state government, by the state chief minister and other Meitei groups. But in reality, it is not only the Kuki people. Most of the entire hill district, they are into poppy plantation. And these people are funded by people from the valley. People from the valley are funding these people, all people, a poor farmer, and they are just merely a daily wages earner. And then once they produce some kind of this opium, when they got the opium, it was taken by men drug kingpins from the valley. For instance, in a few months back, you might have heard that one Itocha, who is a Meitei community from Manipur, was caught with 50 kgs of opium by the police. That huge amount of drugs was never in the hands of the Kuki. I know that many of our people have been arrested with drugs and all, but not in that kind of quantity. So if we really come into that kind of, I want to request the national media to ascertain your facts on the ground, and then make a correct reporting for your vehicles. And coming back to the issue of the present issue of law and order situation in Manipur. Right now, as I said, though our professor has denied it, but most of the violence are concentrating in the valley. In the valley, in the sense, just recently, Honorable Minister of External Affairs, Minister of State External Affairs, Dr. RK Ranjan, home was torched. And then there is again attempt to attack the house of BJP state president, the house of our ministers, and most of the issues are right now inside the valley. In the hills, as I said, after the request of Honorable Union Home Minister, most of our people have restrained themselves from attacking anybody or restrained themselves from violence. So right now, the problem mainly we have to focus on is in the valley. And in the valley, as I said, from reliable sources, we heard that most of the valley women folks or civil society organizations or the excited volunteers are mostly brainwashed by the Meitei militants who are hiding inside Myanmar. And these Meitei militants who are hiding inside Myanmar they have been proven having link with the foreign agencies like ISI and the Chinese intelligence. So I request the central government to look into this issue very seriously, and if these things are neglected, and there will be total collapse of governance or security issue in Manipur. That is what I want.
Okay, Professor Hauke, your comments, and then I'll go to General Sivach.
Has almost spiraled out of control from the state. As you have seen in the last few days, there are threats by so-called All Assam Manipuri Youth Association, who propose blockade on National Highway 54 at Lailapur, which is lifeline of Mizoram as well as lifeline of Tripura. So there is a potential that if this kind of riot, if the kind of violence not controlled at this juncture, the violence could spiral out of the state to Mizoram, to Assam, to even Nagaland. So what is the central doing, at this juncture? And there are different elements in social network and others trying to invoke certain kind of hatred, certain kind of animosity also. And this has not been controlled properly by different agencies of the Indian state. So we have to look into all these elements and try to calm down sentiments, try to look into some of the elements that's been working on, day in and day out to increase the kind of violence that has been happening. And as the former Vice President of BJP in Manipur, Sri Benjamin, has also indicated, after the request by Amit Shah ji on the 29th of last month, there has been quite peace in the hills. For instance, many of the village defense presenters or any other people who have been in the foothills, they have restrained from attacking, or they have restrained from any kind of violence. And till today, there is no violence committed by them. And on the other side, we can see that there is continuous attack. For instance, the Khamenlok area has been, wiped out, and there are so much casualty during those, kind of attacks. And you have different rumors going on that many other villages would be attacked in the coming few days. So why can't this information by the Indian intelligence agency could be taken into account, and the central forces control all this kind of the project called Greater Imphal. I think there is a kind of project called Greater Imphal where all the foothills could be liberated, and then later on the Chief Minister himself said that any vacated houses or villages could not be sold to anyone. So look into this.
When you talk about Greater Imphal or Greater this or that, it brings me to another question, which is like very disturbing. And General Siwaj, this is where I wanted to come in. Now, reports have come out that names have been erased, and in valley areas, Kuki names have been erased. In tribal areas, Meitei names have been erased. Worrisome is an understatement on my part. Because it's not renaming, it's like erasing a history. Because Manipur is also not about one community, it's about communities. It is one state with a territorial integrity.
Absolutely, very rightly said. See, there is a distrust which is now occurring in various communities. Now, what you are saying is that there are communities which there in Manipur, there are Meiteis which are on the basically valley floor, then there are Kukis and Nagas. Now, we must understand the Chin population which is there in Myanmar has linkage with Kukis and also the Jo tribe which we call in Mizoram. In fact, it looked like that the community which is Chin, Kuki and Jo community has a total linkage in Mizoram. And now, in case if the turmoil keeps in Myanmar, it will have a adverse impact in Mizoram. Remember, Mizoram is one state that it is very peaceful after 1984 agreement which was signed. In fact, that's the only state where there is no insurgency. But this problem of Chin population and Kukis, also the Jo population, in case they are also being affected and then they take shelter in Mizoram, this problem can also go toward Mizoram, and that is what we don't want. We want this violence to be curbed at the earliest, and so that some sort of you can say law and order comes in. As on today, that thing has not come in. The point is that we are claiming that the situation is returning toward normalcy, but overnight some incident take place and then we go back to zero. So the point is, as an today, the foremost important point is bring the law and order under control. Mean business, anyone who is taking law in his own must be dealt sternly, and the total freedom of action must be given to central armed forces as well as the army under the unified command, and bring the violence under control, irrespective whether they are Meiteis, Kukis or Nagas. They are Indian.
Sir, I just want to come in, Brijesh Pandey this side, sir. But this is exactly where the problem is. Because the unified command has been given to Kuldeep Yadav, who in turn, Kuldeep Singh, who in turn reports to the Chief Minister. Why is the command not given to the army, sir?
I know, I agree with you. See, these are the problems, and you are rightly said. See, I have functioned in unified command when we started initially in Assam, with General Ranjan Singh was there, and then the same model was followed in Jammu and Kashmir. And both these places, the unified command has succeeded and has been very successful. And you're right that I suppose they must understand the unified command should be given to the highest rank of army officer there, and all agencies which are under the central government which are being brought must act under him, because they are the impartial. The aim is to bring peace, law and order situation under control, and very rightly brought out by number of panelists. All these panelists which are telling, they are being affected party, they are telling from their heart. We must understand what is the problem of different community. Now the point which is coming is that in case the Kukis are feeling that they must get some sort of autonomy, follow what has been there in Bodo Autonomous Council. I have been in Kokrajhar and Mizoram. It has functioned well. But that is the action later. As on today is, how do you bring peace and law and order situation under control in Manipur? And very rightly one has been brought out. The suspension of operations are there. Their weapons are still intact. In case the situation keeps on deteriorating, if these weapons are also taken, God save us. So therefore, there is a requirement now. We must now go against all those who are trying to take law in their own and spread the violence. As on today, people think that we will not act. But that thing must be now brought in. Anyone who is taking law in hand will be dealt seriously. If there are some casualties, so it be. But the first and foremost is bring peace and bring law and order totally under control in Manipur, and next step thereafter. What I was telling initially also, that Home Minister has come there, he has taken situation in his own hand, and possibly he is also briefing the Prime Minister. What is required is if they find the state government is not able to handle the situation and they find things are going from bad to worse, forget about the political gain. Do not hesitate even to have a president rule in Manipur, because first and foremost is the safety and security of the people of Manipur, which is the jewel of Northeast, which is the very crunch of Act East policy, which will have direct impact not only in Manipur, in Mizoram, Nagaland, and also in Myanmar.
Okay, and let us play this bite out once again. Those viewers who are joining us, you know, women at forefront in Manipur. This is a very important video
and a very powerful one.
Going, mother, going, mother, going. 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 Going, mother, going, mother, going.
The visuals are very, very important. These visuals are very, very important, Brijesh, and it just goes on to show that how complex the issue of Manipur has become, how complex and deep the divide has become, and what is really required is some sort of a super fast turbocharged action on part of the central government, because I don't think it is within the remit of Biren Singh now. I think that ship has sailed. Whatever needs to be done will need to be done from Delhi. Yes, you cannot have a disempowered chief minister sitting there, but if someone has not done the job, then the responsibility lies at center to replace them, create a new avenue, push more powerful administrators there, because I think after the collapse of the peace committee, it is imperative that something new needs to be done, and the 51 member or a dozen member peace committee has not worked. So I think they need to make peace committees smaller, much more cogent, uniform, so that they can all work together on one page. Let's play the bite of Manish Tiwari.
मणिपुर की जो परिस्थिति है वो बहुत ही दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, वो बहुत ही संवेदनशील है और चिंता का विषय है। मणिपुर की परिस्थिति का जो असर है वो भारत के उत्तर पूर्व के बाकी राज्यों के ऊपर भी पड़ेगा। बेहतर ये रहता कि प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी वहाँ खुद जाते, लोगों से बातचीत करते, अमन शांति का आह्वान करते और ये सुनिश्चित करते कि उत्तर पूर्व जो भारत का एक सामरिक दृष्टिकोण से बहुत ही संवेदनशील राज्य है, वहाँ पे अमन और शांति बहाल होती। और अभी भी ये केंद्र सरकार का उत्तरदायित्व बनता है, पूरी तरह से उत्तरदायित्व बनता है कि वहाँ पे जो तनावपूर्ण परिस्थिति बनी हुई है उसके ऊपर नियंत्रण पाया जाए और जो परिस्थितियां हैं उनको सामान्य बनाया जाए.
The biggest issue in Manipur is that the violence has continued and the army and the paramilitary and the police has not been able to quell that. That's one. The second big issue is that the weapons have not come back. The third issue is that the peace committee has become a non-starter. So conversation between Nagas, Kukis and Meiteis have not taken place. And without that conversation, I don't think any military action or any stabilizing force can work, because stabilizing force of the army can only work hand in hand with a political action, with a committee which talks to everyone. I think there were smaller committees deployed in Kashmir. There have been one member deployment of men in troubled states. You know, there had been movement of a person to another state, like Arjun Singh, an example which I give again and again. So I think even in Manipur, they need to make it smaller, workable, movable, and all the members being on the same page. And I think till that does not happen, it will be very difficult for Manipur to return to normalcy, because one must understand that to return to normalcy is not that the violence does not take place. The return to normalcy is when Kukis, Meiteis and Nagas, they trust each other under one chief minister and live their normal life, and these camps are dismantled. With the camps in place, there cannot be any normalcy, because it means that you have the divide is not just geographical, it is mental, and I think center needs to heal both geographical and the mental divide.
It is obvious to everybody that it is an agenda-driven thing. Now, obviously, that is garbage.
Well, why should we be judged by benchmarks and yardsticks that have been established by the West? In fact, I'll turn this around and ask the question that, given the state of gun killings and gun violence in the US, what is its risk level?
Democracy index, freedom index, religious freedom index, press freedom index, these are all ways of playing mind games.
If the findings of several